Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum CS Pro users. Tutorial on View Array in the Save Array Viewer. This is the fourth in a series of tutorials on how to use the arrays. In this tutorial, we will learn how to view an array using the Save Array Viewer option. I will explain in various ways to help you understand. I used word index in previous tutorials. We can access an array element by referring to index number inside the parenthesis. We will see how the index number is displayed in the Save Array Viewer. The Save Arrays file is a text file that may be viewed with any text editor such as TextViewer or Notepad. The four arrays are declared with the save keyword. Save arrays can only be declared in the prog global. All arrays marked with save in the application are written to the same file. By default, this file has the same name as the application but with a .sva file extension. The first array has one row and five columns, while the remaining arrays have two rows and six columns. At the time of declaration, initialize the age values in the third array. If we run the application at this point and the array file does not exist, an array file will be created. Otherwise, the array file will be updated. So because we don't have one yet, the array file will be created at this point. To open it, double-click it. I only initialize the third array while creating the array. Because I have not initialized any value in the first, second, or fourth arrays, their values are set to default. Let's see an example of how the values in the third array will be saved. The third array has two rows and six columns. This means that the third array can hold 12 elements. 2 multiplied by 6. 27 will be saved on the first row, first column. 30 will be saved on the first row, second column. 6 will be saved on the first row, third column, and so on. After the first 6, the 32 will be saved on the second row, first column. 25 will be saved on the second row, second column. 8 will be saved on the second row, third column, and so on. After running the application, compare the results. Both results are the same. One thing to note here is that the column and row indexes begin with 1 rather than 0. If we initialize the values when we create the array, the index number will start from 1 instead. If on the other hand, you are creating the array and then going to initialize the values, you have two options of starting indexing from 0 or 1. Let's see an example. I will use these two arrays which I have declared in proc global but not initialized. In the first array, the size is 1 row, 5 columns. In the second array, the size is 2 rows and 6 columns. Click on the f underscore login underscore form to initialize the values in these two arrays. To remove double slashes all at once, select the number of lines you want to remove and then press Ctrl plus slash. In my previous tutorials, I discussed how we will use the index number to initialize the values. The link can be found in the description box. Save and run the application. To view the save array file, Close the application and navigate to the application folder. Double-click it to open it. The first array has 1 row and 5 columns. We can compare the values we initialized in the logic to the output in the Save Array viewer. At this time, these values are not visible. When we open the file in the viewer, zero indices are unchecked by default. To initialize the values, we begin with zero indexing. So to view these values, press Ctrl plus 0 or click on the option from the menu and then select the option Show Zero Indices. After selecting the option, we can now see these values. Now compare the output to the values specified in the logic. The both values are the same. When we use zero indexing to initialize the values, the array size will be -1 at the time of array declaration. In the first array, we are using zero indexing, so the size will be 1 row and 5 columns because the row and column indexing will be start from 0. It means that 1 row equal to 2 rows and 5 columns equals to 6 columns. The second array has 2 rows and 6 columns. To initialize the values, we begin indexing at 1 rather than 0. The values at index 0 in row and columns will be set as default. It does not imply that it will cause a problem. Your application will work perfectly. Let's see another example. The size of this array is the same as the size of the second array. We are initializing the value at index 0 in the logic. In the output window, the second row and last column of the third array are set to default. Why? Because we are indexing from 0 and the size in the array is 2 rows and 6 columns. If we want to initialize the value from the 0 indexing, then the size will be 1 row and 5 columns. Again, this does not imply that there will be a problem. Your application will work perfectly. In my next tutorial, we will see how we can use array in the hot tags. I hope this tutorial helps you build a strong application logically. Please see the CS Pro help for more information. Keep on learning and goodbye.